Hello everyone. If required, please pause and have a look. This is the brief overview of Nifty and Bank Nifty price action from last week. After 3 weeks, finally, Bank Nifty outperformed Nifty. With that in mind, let's discuss in detail about what happened last week. Weekly wrap for September 3rd week 2025. Before last Monday, during that weekend, India's consumer inflation came as 2.07%. Here, though it was higher than July month data, still it's a very positive macro as it came within RBI's target range 2 to 6%. All thanks to food price deflation. However, there were some negativities at that time. Market was waiting for the Fed interest rate decision and the Indian market had been increasing for the past 7 straight sessions. So there was potential for that related profit booking. And more negative, in the G7 conference, Trump called all the G7 countries to impose tariffs on India and China for Russian oil purchases. So in response to all, on Monday, Nifty dropped slightly around 45 points. Here the main dragger was IT stocks, which were down about 0.5%, and there was no fundamental problem in it, rather it was just profit booking. Since in the first and second week of September, IT sector was the top gainer, up near 10%. So as I said, it was just profit booking. Then moving to Tuesday, on Monday night, US and China kind of came to the trade deal conclusion. So overnight, it improved the global momentum. On the same night, US chief trade negotiator traveled to India and Indian government made an announcement that US and India are going to do the trade talk on Tuesday. We discussed multiple times, last August month, Trump suspended the 6th round US-India negotiation, which in turn made our market very negative. Hence, on Tuesday, Indian market took this trade talk announcement as very positive. In addition, there was positivity around the auto sector as early morning Nomura released a report regarding the future of the electric vehicle market in India. They also said they were positive on M&M, Hyundai, TVS Motors and Ashok Leyland, which in turn made all those stocks to rally. So the US-India trade talks restarting, auto sector positivity and expiry related influence all made the Nifty to break out above the August month high and it increased by 170 points. Whereas on Wednesday, Indian market reacted for the US-India trade talk updates. Trump said that the trade discussion with India were positive and forward-looking. From India's side, our Commerce Ministry didn't give any details, but they said that both the sides were urging to reach an early conclusion for the mutually beneficial trade agreement. So in short, it's a progress, but no details like what India is going to do with the agricultural sector or regarding the Russian oil purchases. And this trade talk progress made the Nifty to increase further 90 points. Then on Thursday, Indian market reacted for the Fed interest rate decision. Fed cut the interest rate as expected 25 basis points. But on top of that, despite the Fed chairman's hawkish press conference, they projected to perform 2 more rate cuts by end of this year. 25 basis points each time in the next 2 FOMC meetings, which in turn made the global momentum positive and made the Nifty to close positive of around again 90 points. Finally, on Friday, banking stocks reacted for the RBI's daily money market operation report. It showed that tri-party repo rate increased to 5.65% from 5.52% a day ago, which means 13 basis points increase in one single day, which is a huge increase. Along with it, due to the tax transfer to Indian government account, which we discussed in detail in the last video, there was a sudden commercial bank's liquidity drop to 64,000 crore rupees from 2.8 lakh rupees, which in turn puts pressure on the Bank Nifty. In addition, early morning, Japanese bank kept the interest rate as it is, but 2 of their members voted for the rate hike. This deviation strengthened the Japanese yen and made the global momentum negative. Both influenced the Nifty to drop near 100 points. So out of 5 sessions, Nifty closed positive on 3 and negative on 2. In short, US-India trade sentiment improvement and US rate cut optimism made the Nifty to close positive for the 3rd straight week, 0.8% increase or 213 points. Then on Bank Nifty case, as we discussed, it outperformed the Nifty and increased 1.2% or 620 points. Here, please note, at present, Nifty closed positive for 12 out of the last 15 sessions. And if you see sector-wise, for the second week in a row, consumer durables closed negative and FMCG was down by 0.5%. All others closed positive. PSU banks was the major gainer, increased 4.8%, followed by small cap, energy, public sector enterprise and oil and gas. All those increased around 2 to 3%. Whereas stock-wise on the Nifty stocks, Adani Enterprise was the major gainer, increased 5.5%. As on Thursday evening, SEBI released their investigation report about Adani Group that they find no merits from Hindenburg allegations. Followed by Zomato, SBI, Maruti Suzuki and Airtel, those 4 stocks increased between 3 to 5%. And on the downside, Titan was the major dragger, down near 3%, whereas Asian Paints, Nestle, ICICI Bank and Bajaj Finance down 1 to 2.5%. Then about institution wise, in the cash market, surprisingly for 3 sessions, FI turned as net buyers, which is very odd. I mean, each of those sessions, they net bought only for 300 to 400 crore rupees, but it's showing they reduced their selling intents. And even on those 2 sessions where they were net sellers, each session they net sold only for around 1200 crore rupees. And thus overall on the weekly basis, the net sold only for 1350 crore rupees, which then translates on an average for every session, the net sold only for 270 crore rupees. And now their average daily gross purchase and gross sales value is increasing by 10 to 20% compared to last 2 weeks. I mean, it's still below than the long-term average, but improving. Then moving to DII, in all 5 trading sessions, they were net buyers. Even yesterday, they net bought for little above 2100 crore rupees. And on weekly basis, last week alone, DII net bought for near 11,200 crore rupees. So on an average, they net bought for 2250 crore rupees each session, which is more than 8 times higher than the average FII's net sold value. So that's all about the Indian stock market. Other than that, between Wednesday to Friday, Trump was very quiet as he visited UK. Maybe next week he might double down his craziness. Let's wait and see. Indian rupee wise, on an average, it appreciated like 20 basis points, still very stable. All 5 trading sessions, it traded between 87.8 to 88.2 rupees per US dollar. In comparison, on the September 2nd week, it was 88 to 88.4 rupees per US dollar. Again, to my surprise, India's Forex reserve value for the week ended 12th September 2025 increased by 4.7 billion US dollars to near 703 billion US dollars. Clearly, RBI is not selling dollar for the rupee stabilization, rather they are buying dollar to keep the rupee stable. And regarding gold, it was up for the 5th consecutive week and reached the record high 3,707 US dollar per ounce in the midweek thanks to dollar index weakening. But after the Fed interest rate cut in the last 2 sessions, it dropped slightly and now trading between 3,650 to 3,660 US dollar per ounce. So that's all in this video. Hope you all got some useful information. Please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video so that it will help me beat the YouTube algorithm and also motivate me to do more. Please don't make any investment decision based on this, as I'm not a SEBI registered advisor. I'm doing this for me and viewers' educational purpose only. Thanks for watching.